everybody, welcome to my channel.
Alec Guinness, 1914 to 2000, was an English actor widely regarded as one of the greatest screen and stage performers of the 20th century. Known for his extraordinary versatility, he moved fluidly between drama and comedy, portraying characters who were often reserved, intelligent, or quietly complex. Though modern audiences frequently recognize him as Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars, 1977, his career stretched far beyond that one role. Early life. Alec Guinness de Cuffe was born on April 2, 1914. In London, England. Raised by his mother and with little knowledge of his father, Guinness grew up modestly and found solace in reading and theatre. He attended the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA, one of the most prestigious acting schools in Britain, and soon began performing on stage. Stage career. Guinness became a fixture of the London stage in the 1930s and 1940s. He was especially known for his Shakespearean roles, Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, and Richard II, among others. His clarity of speech, controlled emotional expression, and ability to embody any character gave him a reputation as a consummate actor's actor. Film breakthrough. Ealing comedies. His early film roles in the late 1940s and 1950s for Ealing Studios showcased his comedic genius. In the classic Kind Hearts and Coronets, 1949, Guinness famously played 8 different characters, all members of the same aristocratic family. His subtle humor and elegant transformation abilities became his trademark. International acclaim. In 1957, Guinness delivered one of his most celebrated performances as Colonel Nicholson in The Bridge on the River Kwai. The film was a monumental success, earning him the Academy Award for Best Actor. This role solidified him as a global cinematic icon. Other major films include The Lavender Hill Mob, 1951, The Ladykillers, 1955, Lawrence of Arabia, 1962, as Prince Faisal. Dr. Zhivago, 1965. His performances were marked not by showiness, but by restraint and depth. He had an exceptional ability to show complexity with the smallest gesture. Obi-Wan Kenobi. In later career. In his later years, Guinness was introduced to a new generation through George Lucas's Star Wars, 1977. As Obi-Wan Kenobi, he brought gravitas and serenity to the role of the wise Jedi mentor. Although he appreciated the film's cultural impact, he sometimes grew frustrated with being identified primarily as Obi-Wan, preferring his more varied earlier work. Personal life. Guinness converted to Roman Catholicism in the 1950s, a profound turning point in his life. Known for his modesty and private nature, he enjoyed painting, writing, and spending quiet time with his family. He was married to actress Marula Salomon from 1938 until his death, and they had one son, Matthew, who also became an actor. Death and legacy. Alec Guinness died on August 5, 2000, at the age of 86. His legacy endures not only through the Star Wars franchise but also through decades of film classics and a profound impact on acting as a craft. He remains a symbol of elegance, intelligence, and quiet power on screen, a master of subtle transformation who could disappear into any role. The craft of transformation. Alec Guinness was known for disappearing into roles so completely that audiences frequently didn't realize they were watching the same actor from one film to the next. His acting style was built on precision. Every gesture mattered, from the tilt of a head to the cadence of a sentence. Restraint. He avoided big emotional displays unless absolutely necessary. Character analysis. He studied voice, posture, age, social class, and psychology to build a role from the inside out. in Kind Hearts and Coronets when he played 8 different characters. He approached each person individually, creating unique speech patterns and small variations in body language so that no two felt the same, even though they all shared his face. Guinness disliked being labeled a chameleon because to him the work was not about hiding, rather, it was about revealing the truth of the character. Relationship with directors and co-stars. Guinness was highly respected by directors such as David Lean, with whom he collaborated 6 times, George Lucas. Carol Reed. Lean, especially, understood Guinness' subtlety and depth. Their collaboration produced masterpieces like Great Expectations, 1946, Oliver Twist, 1948, The Bridge on the River Kwai, 1957, Lawrence of Arabia, 1962, Dr. Zhivago, 1965, though their working relationship had friction, particularly on Oliver Twist. Lean admired Guinness's ability to become any character he imagined. Co-stars described him as polite, gentle, and deeply intelligent. He avoided ego-driven behavior and valued quiet professionalism. His complicated relationship with fame. Despite reaching global celebrity status, Guinness never sought stardom. He often said that acting brought him joy only when the audience forgot he existed. Fame contradicted that desire. When Star Wars became a phenomenon, Guinness found himself constantly approached by fans. He remained polite, but privately he struggled with the overwhelming attention. He once wrote that he wished the world would remember him for the small things, the work that needed patience and care. He respected Star Wars as a project and appreciated Lucas. But he felt the cultural obsession overshadowed his lifelong dedication to the craft. A private and thoughtful man, Guinness had a contemplative spirit. He kept journals throughout his life, reflecting on acting, spirituality, aging, and the tension between art and celebrity. In the 1950s, during a film shoot in France, a small incident deeply moved him. A young boy touched his robe during a scene in which Guinness was playing a priest. The boy's innocent reverence affected him so profoundly that it influenced his decision to convert to Roman Catholicism, a faith that remained central to his life. He found serenity outside the spotlight, enjoying gardening, reading, writing, and painting. Legacy. Alec Guinness left behind a rare legacy, an actor who elevated every role not through force, but through intelligence, subtlety, and truth. He remains a legend of British theatre, a master of Ealing comedy, a defining screen presence in international cinema, and an immortal mentor in Star Wars. Most of all, he showed that acting doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. Anecdotes and stories. The day Obi-Wan became real. One of the most famous stories about Alec Guinness involved a young fan who approached him with extreme excitement about Star Wars. The boy bragged that he had seen Star Wars over 100 times. Guinness, politely but firmly, told him, "I will give you my autograph if you promise never to watch Star Wars again." This story has been told humorously, but beneath it is Guinness's concern that fans were becoming consumed by a fantasy world, while ignoring the beauty of real life and real storytelling. A Guinness signature trick. Alec Guinness was famous for arriving early on set, hours before filming. He would walk quietly through the set, touching objects, observing the environment, and even rearranging small props. He said this helped him know how the character felt in the space. He once told a young actor, an actor should never simply enter a room. He should arrive there. A private battle with shyness. Guinness was extremely introverted. In fact, he once confessed that being recognized made him physically uneasy. He said his ideal life would be a cottage, a book, a fire, silence. He did not enjoy parties, premieres, or interviews. Fame always felt intrusive. philosophy of acting. Alec Guinness believed that acting required discipline and humility. He disliked actors who treated the work as self-expression. To him, acting was service. We are interpreters, not inventors. He had 3 rules: say the words clearly, never show the audience your effort, serve the story, not yourself. Guinness avoided flashy performances. He preferred small moments, a glance, a sigh, a tiny shift in posture, believing that real emotion came from restraint. His strange sense of humor. Guinness had a dry, almost mischievous wit. While filming Lawrence of Arabia, he entered the set wearing heavy Arab robes, transformed completely into Prince Faisal. A crew member failed to recognize him and asked, "Have you seen Mr. Guinness?" Guinness simply replied, in character, "I have heard of him." The crew member walked off looking for him. Life outside acting. Although he acted for more than 60 years, Guinness never defined himself solely by his career. He loved walking along the sea near his home, painting watercolors, and writing in his journals every evening. He published 2 memoirs, Blessings in Disguise and My Name Escapes Me, that showed his reflective, witty personality. His writing style was elegant, observant, and quietly funny. Final years and passing. In his later years, Alec Guinness withdrew from public life. He did not seek the spotlight and chose to spend time with his wife, Marula, to whom he was married for over 62 years, one of the longest Hollywood marriages. In 2000, after being diagnosed with liver cancer, he spent his final days quietly at home. He passed away on August 5, 2000, at age 86. Marula followed just 2 months later. What makes Alec Guinness unique? Many actors play versions of themselves. Guinness did the opposite. He vanished into roles so completely that his face became a canvas for transformation. 8 characters in one film. Shakespeare on stage. Oscar-winning drama blockbuster sci-fi icon. Few actors have demonstrated such range with such subtlety. Guinness showed that true power in acting doesn't come from being loud or dramatic, but from listening, thinking, and revealing truth in silence. Alec Guinness and Star Wars: respect, frustration, and legacy. Initial reaction to the script. When Alec Guinness first received the script for Star Wars, then called The Adventures of Luke Starkiller, he thought it was strange, overly mystical, and unclear. But he noticed something important: the Jedi had dignity. Guinness later said that the role felt like a touch of fairy tale morality, something hopeful in a cynical era. He accepted the role for 3 reasons. He admired George Lucas's quiet determination and vision. He thought the story had an archetypal, mythic quality. The salary and profit-sharing deal made the role financially rewarding. He negotiated a percentage of the film's profits, a decision that would eventually make him wealthier than any project in his career. Guinness helped shape Obi-Wan. George Lucas originally wrote Obi-Wan as more of a standard sci-fi mentor, but Guinness suggested changes to the dialogue, adding wisdom and calm tone. Lucas later said, Alec elevated the character. Guinness made Obi-Wan spiritual instead of futuristic, grounding the film emotionally. Reaction to the phenomenon. While filming, Guinness quickly sensed that Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher were having fun, but he remained skeptical. He once wrote to a friend, "I can't take it seriously, but the others are having a wonderful time." When Star Wars debuted in 1977 and became a cultural earthquake, Guinness suddenly became a global icon. But fame was not enjoyable for him. His private feelings. Guinness appreciated the film's artistic and cultural achievement. However, he disliked being remembered only for Obi-Wan. He had spent decades building a career of deeply crafted performances, Shakespeare, Ealing comedies, and an Oscar-winning dramatic role, and suddenly strangers only wanted one thing: say, "May the Force be with you." In his journal, he wrote humorously about being unable to order a meal without someone quoting lines at him. The letter about the boy, the famous anecdote about the boy who had seen Star Wars over 100 times, reveals Guinness's deeper concern, obsession. He wrote in his diary that the boy seemed lost inside the film, and that frightened him. Guinness cherished cinema as art, not religion. Guinness' respect for Mark Hamill despite rumors. Guinness genuinely admired Mark Hamill and once called him a fine young man with perfect manners and great intelligence. He appreciated Hamill's dedication, discipline, and curiosity about acting as a craft. Why he agreed to return in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Guinness initially wanted Obi-Wan to die so he could be free of the contract. Ironically, that did not happen. Lucas asked him to return as a spirit. Guinness agreed only because the scenes were short. He trusted Lucas, he respected the fans. He filmed his parts quickly, sometimes in a single afternoon, yet his presence gave emotional structure to Luke's Jedi transformation. Guinness's legacy as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Even though he once joked that Obi-Wan was both a blessing and a cross, the world remembers him as the first Jedi Master, the voice of wisdom, the embodiment of the Force. Today, younger generations discover him through Star Wars, then explore his earlier masterpieces, such as The Bridge on the River Kwai, Kind Hearts, and Coronets. The Ladykillers, Lawrence of Arabia. In this way, Obi-Wan became a bridge, not a burden, connecting new audiences to an extraordinary body of work. Face mask. Final reflection. Alec Guinness didn't need special effects or lightsabers. He could command a scene with a whisper, a small pause, a thought behind the eyes. His brilliance was subtle. His acting lived not in grand gestures but in truth. A private man in a public world, Alec Guinness was, at heart, a deeply private and introspective person. While many actors thrived on attention, Guinness retreated from it. He once said, "I dislike being the center of attention. It makes my spine itch." He valued discretion, modesty, and normality. Despite worldwide fame, he continued to take the subway, shop for groceries, and live in a simple house instead of a mansion. He joked, "The only thing money changed was the size of the firewood I purchase." Red Heart marriage and family. Guinness married Marula Salomon, a fellow actor, in 1938, and stayed devoted to her for the rest of his life. Few Hollywood marriages lasted as long or were as drama-free. They were married over 62 years. Their relationship was built on intellectual companionship, mutual respect, humor, deep loyalty. They had one son, Matthew, who later became an actor. Guinness would write letters to Marula every day when he was filming away from home, sometimes short, sometimes poetic, always affectionate. This reveals a tender heart beneath his reserved surface. Dizzy. His spiritual journey. Guinness' conversion to Roman Catholicism in 1956 was one of the most meaningful events of his life. The turning point began during filming of a movie in France, where Guinness played a priest. One evening, while walking through a village dressed in his costume, a young boy came up and took his hand, smiling with trust. Guinness wrote, "I felt an unexpected peace, a welcoming." His faith became a grounding.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.